We're all faced with this problem, but the funny thing about it is that although we are scared to let them out to the world because of the lack of acceptance, they're often the things that set us apart in the most unique and beautiful ways. They're the things that hold us back when they are the things that can be moving us forward. These differences are oftentimes looked at as negatives in our life, the things that strain who we are and our persona to the world. However, I challenge each of you to see your personal difference as a positive. See it as the difference that sets you apart from every other teenager sitting in this room. See it as the difference that allows you to stand out in a crowd. Everyone can relate to each other through their differences, because having differences is something that we all have in common. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? Hillel talks about how each of us has an I and a me, two separate identities of ourselves. Each of us has an authentic, unique self, an I. Hillel teaches us that if we do not reveal that I, the part of ourselves that is unique, then who are we? What value is there to me, the facade that operates in this world? It is just a shell that hides the person who we truly are. There is no one that can fully understand what you're going through except you. You can't expect other people to be able to unlock the door for you, but it is your job to leave it a crack open at the very least. Let me tell you a story about my friend Joshua. In elementary school, Joshua was teased for being different, for obsessing over certain subjects to such extents, even his teachers became frustrated. He would get in trouble for not paying attention and would constantly be teased by others for things he just couldn't control. In 3rd grade, Joshua was given the label he would never be able to rid himself of. Joshua was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. One day, he asked his mom, "What is Asperger's syndrome? Am I going to die? Because sometimes it's just too hard to live." He continued, "I might be different because I have different interests than other teenagers, but that doesn't give them the right to be so mean and so cruel to me. People tease me about everything, even for being smart. Maybe someday I'll become an engineer and create the real Godzilla. I can dream, can't I? Sometimes I wish I were like everyone else, but not really, because I believe people should be respected for being different, because we're all different in our own ways. But sometimes I'm the only one who can look out for me. And if I am only for myself, what am I? There is a unique I in the universe, and it has only been entrusted to one human being, you. If that unique I does not somehow find expression, then the world will never know it. However, once that I has been discovered, it needs to take the next step and go out into the world. Each of us has something unique to contribute, and it is our responsibility to share it with those around us. We have an obligation to use our passions to better the world, to care about the other people in the world around us. Charles Plumb, a U.S. Naval Academy graduate, was a jet pilot during the Vietnam War. His plane was destroyed, but he was able to safely eject and parachute without harm. However, he was captured and spent 6 years in communist Vietnamese prison. One day, Plumb was in a restaurant when a man at another table came up to him. "You're Plumb. You flew jet fighters in Vietnam. Your plane was shot down." Somewhat surprised, Plumb asked, "How in the world did you know that?" The man replied, "I am the one who packed your parachute." Plumb couldn't sleep that night because he kept thinking about that man. He says, "I kept wondering how many times I might have seen him and not even said good morning, how are you, or anything else, because I was a fighter pilot and he was just a sailor. But now, I always ask myself, and each of you should ask yourselves as well, who is packing your parachute? And if not now, when? If you're not going to accept and express yourself now, when will you? Sometimes, the very thing that can give us the most satisfaction, the key to unlocking the doorway to ourselves, is the very thing we deny most. It is the door we most fear opening. Therefore, we keep the key far out of sight to prevent it from reminding us that there's even a door to be unlocked. This past Passover, I decided to finally take the key in my hand and open my door to self-acceptance, to start my journey that I knew would forever change my life. I have 3 older siblings, whom I consider my closest confidants and best friends, who are all visiting home at the time. So after second Seder, I sat my siblings down to give them the news that I had known deep down inside, finally about to reveal the struggle that had been eating away at me for so long. My siblings were the first people whom I explicitly told I was gay, and from that moment on, my personal door was officially wide open. I had officially come out of the closet. For years, I spent time denying it, hoping my homosexual tendencies would go away. I would often think to myself, it can't be true. God wouldn't make me this way. But it was true, and I couldn't deny it any longer. And now, I see it as a part of me, a part of my definition. Instead of trying to hide it, I accept it and embrace it. However, through my lifelong journey, I was constantly reminded of my deepest secret. 2005, 6th grade. I considered to be the year where I realized something was different. At sleepovers or in school with the guys, I felt uncomfortable discussing the girls in our grade. 6th grade was the year I had my first male crush, which would forever change my perspectives on life. 2008, freshman year in high school, was my first year out of private Jewish day school and into public school with kids I had never met before. I had an application on Facebook called Honesty Box, which provided a way for me to anonymously communicate with people. Unfortunately, this backfired on me, and one day I received a post from an anonymous male user talking about how annoying I was, how the friendships I had with girls were unhealthy, how I was stupid, and how I had no friends that were guys. However, the part that hurt the most was the constant use of the words gay, fag, and homo throughout the entire post. I was already uncomfortable enough with my sexuality. This misuse and misunderstanding of such hateful words took a personal blow at me, making it harder to accept myself. I felt beaten, confused, and hurt. How could I accept myself when it seemed no one around me would either? When everything I was scared of proved to be true from this one post? When all I could do was replay the words in my head over and over again. 2011, summer after senior year, the news of my coming out became public. The hardest part of my journey wasn't the physical harassment, and it wasn't the online bullying. The hardest part was the inner struggle, the pain that wouldn't and probably will never go away. But after coming out to my siblings, my friends were the next people to know. However, these weren't just any friends. Many of these people were my USY friends. My USY friends have been there for me through everything. They're the ones I go to when I need a hug or a smile, or even just some encouraging words. 2009, the beginning of junior year, I remember like it was yesterday. One day in psychology, I had gotten to class about 3 minutes early. Myself and another boy were sitting in the room. Not once had I ever talked to this kid, nothing more than a friendly nod in the hallway or even a half smile on the way to class. He turns to me and says 8 words that I will never forget. "Are you gay?" Because I find that repulsive. I was taken aback, confused at how to answer. I was still fighting with myself about who I was, so I just simply sat down quietly and replied no. When I returned home, I ran to my room. I stared at myself in the mirror for 3 hours, going over in my mind everything I hated about myself, the entire time debating in my mind my very own future. At 8:30 p.m., I received a phone call from my best friend in USY. She was calling to talk, just to catch up, just to see how I was doing. That's when I realized that USY was my outlet for life, the way I could deal with everything that was happening around me. Because no matter what anyone at school or what any strangers thought, USY would be there for me to get me through those times when all you need is someone to look out for you, to simply look out for you. USY is there to let me express my personal I to the world through the good times and the bad times. USY is that place where people can be different but still be themselves. It's the place where each of us supports each other while overcoming the challenge of realizing and accepting who we are. In USY, our differences are understood, no questions asked. USY allows teens to express themselves and learn who they are on both a Jewish and personal level. USY illustrates the fact that each of us is incomparable to anyone else. It is our home away from home, which possesses our most trusted friends. It is a huge part of our journey to discovering who we are. At least, that's what it has been for me, and I truly hope it is that way for you. Over the past year in USY, I have observed and heard about how each of us face different challenges in discovering who we are and what we stand for in more ways than I could have possibly imagined. As the USY representative within the coalition of Jewish teen leaders, we drafted a letter to President Obama focusing on LGBT bullying, the effects it has on teens, and the fact that schools are not taking the active stance they should be taking. In May, I was blessed with the opportunity to go to the White House to meet with President Obama in honor of Jewish American Heritage Month. He spoke about how the Jewish people are often discriminated against, put down, but somehow, in the end, we come together and inspire those around us. Our differences from the rest of the world are what set us apart and help us to achieve as a people. One of the most meaningful parts of my term was having the opportunity to attend conventions as well as summer programs. At different conventions, I realized that each region is inherently different. They have their own traditions and own convention styles. Each region has an identity that's unique to every other one, which also causes each of you to be unique, and in turn, this is what makes USY one of a kind. When I visit Pilgrimage on Wheels, once again, I was able to see the amazing impact that USY programs have on each of us. I took the opportunity to talk to people about the programs, and one thing remained constant. Their summer was unlike any summer they had ever had. Unique, special, different. One of my favorite stories is about a man who once approached one of the great Hasidic leaders. The leader asked him, "For what did you come here?" "To find God," the man instantly replied. "Then you came for nothing. You're wasting your time." "Why?" the man responded. "Why?" the Hasid exclaimed. "Because God is everywhere." The man, a bit confused, asked, "Then tell me, why should I have come?" "To find yourself." I entered USY 5 years ago in order to find myself. Last year, I stood at the podium at IC 2010 and talked about how USY was my home, was the place where I felt included and accepted. This statement has not changed and is one of the biggest factors that has shaped me into the individual that I am today. USY is a true gift and an aid on my life journey. Without USY and the close community that was necessary for me to have in my life, I wouldn't be as comfortable with myself as I am today, nor as confident with who I am and the fact that it's okay to be me. Each of us has an obligation to be true to ourselves and make sure that no one can put us down. There will be obstacles in the way of this life goal, whether it's others or even ourselves, but the challenge of discovering who we are is one that will occur until the end of time. However, the difference about this journey is that we cannot run from it. We cannot turn back. We must face it head on. I can tell you from personal experience that accepting who we are and embracing it is one of the best things you can do for yourself and for everyone around you. Abraham Joshua Heschel stated, "Our goal should be to live life in radical amazement. Get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually." Similarly, we should be amazed by our own existence, because each of us can make an impact on the world at large, as long as we are willing to take that first step and be willing to put ourselves out there. Toda rabah.